What do we got going on today? Well, I got some corn here. I got some 2-row barley, some wheat, some rye, and a lot of sweet potatoes. So what are we going to make? We are going to make a caramelized sweet potato bourbon. Alright, this ought to be pretty interesting. I think it's going to taste pretty darn good, to be honest with you. Okay, so first things first. Welcome to Stillworks and Brewing. My name is Randy, and this is a channel that's all about home distillation and brewing. Okay, let's get started. So I guess the first thing we got to do is we got to prepare our sweet potatoes. And what we're going to do is basically we're going to be cutting these in half. Then I'm going to put them in the oven and we're going to bake them for a while. And we're not going to skin them, but we're going to bake them for a while. And then we're going to put some brown sugar on top of them and bake them a little longer. So it'll be all nice and sweet. And that's going to be our basis to our sweet potato, caramelized sweet potato bourbon. Alright, I've made sweet potato bourbon in the past and it turned out fantastic. This is just going to be a little bit different. You know, we're always trying to do something a little bit different. Okay, now let's get started. Okay, I just got a cookie sheet here. I put some parchment paper on there. That's basically just to help with cleanup. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to cut these sweet potatoes in half. Now you can get a lot of enzymes out of the skin of a sweet potato, but in this case, since I'm going to caramelize and bake them, it's going to be over the 160 range. It will actually kill the enzymes that's in that skin. So what I'm basically using the sweet potato for is the flavoring. Alright, but you can ferment sweet potatoes and it's just a different process. Alright, so let's cut these in half without cutting my fingers off. And I'll just arrange. I might have to use 2 cookie sheets. I don't know. There's a big one. Look at the size of that. So we'll cut these in half. And it is, I got 8 pounds of sweet potatoes here. I don't know if they're all going to fit on the same cookie sheet. Alright, so let me get this done. And when I get this done, what I'll do, I'll take them in the kitchen and bake them in the oven like 350 degrees until they really soften up. So I'll let you know how long that is. That's going to be up to you. So let me get that done. And then get them baking, so we'll bake them, let them cool down, and we'll move on from there. So I guess this was step number 1. Alright, so let me get this done, then I'll be back. Okay, we got the sweet potatoes in the oven. I set the oven at 350 degrees, and I'm checking them every half hour. To be honest with you, I just checked it, and they're not even starting to soften up yet. So, we give it a little more time, but while we're doing that, we need to get our corn ready. Now, I know a lot of people have some nice fancy mills and all that stuff, but a friend of mine, he gave me this industrial coffee bean grinder, and it works fantastic to mill my corn. Sorry about the noise. So, I'll turn the sound down so it don't make a lot of noise to you. So let's mill our corn and get it ready, okay? And it just does a fantastic job. It might not be the fastest in the world, but it does a good job for me. So let me get this done, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so the next step is we gotta cook our corn. So what I'm gonna put in the mash tun, I got some boiling water in my brew pot here. And I don't know, I'm going to add somewhere in the neighborhood of, well, let's start with 3 gallons. And then we'll go from there. And we can always add more water. It's not exact. Alright, well that's a couple more. Alright, let's get ready to put our corn in, okay? Alright, I tried to give you an overhead shot, but it just steamed the lens all up. You couldn't see anything anyway. So, what we're doing is just mixing this corn in with this boiling water. And we started with about 3 gallons. And so let's just add our corn in. Keep giving it a good stir. If we have to add a little more water, we can. If we got a little bit too much water, that won't much matter either. You know what I mean? Okay, we almost got our corn in there. One more container. Yeah, we're trying to just so we don't have any dough balls. Alright, 175. I'll leave it right there. And what I'm going to do, so it's a 175, and I got some high temperature enzymes, and this works best between 150 and 190. Use a couple teaspoons, it says, per 5 gallons. So I'll just put a couple teaspoons in there. 1, 2. And that's going to help get a head start on the starch conversion. Alright, so what I want to do now is I'm going to put the lid on this, and I'm going to set the timer for 1.5 hours. Okay, so I'll see you in 1.5 hours. Okay, it's been 1.5 hours. Well, it's time to stir in our grain. Okay, nice and thin. Alright, let's stir in the grain. Okay. It don't matter what, let me stir in the wheat. Okay. Oop. Left a little bit in the bag. That ain't good. Alright, so next, that was wrong. I stirred in the rye. Here goes the wheat. And I stirred the rye in first. And this is the wheat. I think wheat gives it a little bit. To me, rye is the pepper on your steak, and the wheat is a little bit. It makes it a little bit smoother, I think, and good taste. All right, so there's that, and then we're going to mix in our barley. All these grains here are malted, so they're all going to help in the conversion of the starches in that sugar, the starches into sugar. Starting to get a little thick now. That's a lot of grain. Alright, what I want to do is I want to double check my temperature. And yeah, it's a little bit low. Alright, it's 156. 158. Wait a minute. Yeah, it's all over the place. 158. Alright, let's mix a little hot water in there and boost that temperature up just a little bit. Just a little bit. And 50. Yeah, a little bit more. The first water I put in there was, I got it out of the brew pot. It was just a little bit, wasn't as hot, so I had to turn fire under that and heat that back up. That's why it didn't boost the temperature up any. You'd think I would have checked that first, huh? 151, 154. Okay, 150, about 156. I'm gonna leave it right there. I'm gonna put the lid on it and set my timer for an hour and a half. Okay? Okay, so it's been an hour and a half. What we're gonna do now is very simple. We're gonna do a starch test to make sure that the conversion did take place. I'm sure it did, but this is just take a sample of the liquid. I mean, I'm sure that it did, but this just makes sure, you know what I'm saying? And all we gotta do is take a drop of iodine, put it in the sample, and it all went back to the original color. So we know that there's no starch present, so that means that the enzymes did its job, right? Let me put a lid on this before I spill it. So, what's the next step? Okay, so our next step is, I got my fermentation bucket here, and what I want to do is put them fantastic looking sweet potatoes in this bucket, and we're going to try to mash them up a little bit before we add any of the mash into it. Okay, so let me show you what these potatoes look like. You're going to like this. Take a look at them potatoes. So they baked an hour and a half total. The last half hour, brown sugar on top of them, and it all bubbled and cooked down. So it tastes fantastic. It tastes like caramel. So we need to put these in the bucket. Hopefully so. And like I said before, I got the sweet potatoes in here mainly for flavoring. But you can ferment sweet potatoes, of course. Alright, there's all the sweet potatoes. Alright, now I just want to give them a little bit of a mashing. I mean, I can smell them. They smell fantastic. Alright, I think they're all mashed up. I mean, that's skins and all. What to do is we're going to dip our corn and everything out of this mash tun. And into my bucket sieve here. This thing works pretty good. Alright, let me get this done, then we'll show you the next step. Alright, let's check our starting gravity. Take a little sample. Okay, I'm looking at 1.075. 1.075, that's pretty decent. Okay, she's about done sparging. I need to check the temperature. I know it's going to be too warm for the yeast. I'm going to check it anyway. Yeah, it's like at 124, 125 degrees. So that's a little bit too warm for the yeast. Okay. Now here to answer a question. I get a lot of questions on the exact amounts of water. Well, that ain't particularly how I do it. Everybody does it differently. So what I do is I sparge, or I drain the grains over into my fermentation bucket. Then I sparge with water, sometimes warm water, then I'll move to cool water to wash them sugars out of them grains. And when I collect up 6 gallons of water in my fermentation bucket, I call it done. Okay? And it seems to work out pretty good for me. Alright, so what's next? Like I said, let's let that cool down. And later on today, I will probably add my yeast. I'm going to use Daddy's yeast. A couple tablespoons. Heaping tablespoons. And then let it ferment for a week to 10 days or until it's done. The smell here is fantastic. I think it's going to be a very, very good bourbon. And you know me, I love my bourbon, right? So, alright. So we'll be back in about a week to 10 days or a couple weeks. Okay, a couple of tablespoons of yeast. It's cooled down to temperature. Let me put a couple tablespoons of yeast in there. Alright. Okay, so let's finish up this caramelized sweet potato bourbon. This will be great. Okay, alright. Let's go and finish up this caramelized sweet potato bourbon. That last, see all the tails? So I'm going to just put a lid on that. I'll save that for the next batch. And if you notice down here on the end down here, I got my nice wooden barrel out. So, I've already tasted these. I'm keeping this is what I'm keeping. So let's put them in my mixing jar. Alright. Okay, I should get rid of these empties. Get them out of the way. Alright, let me put one bottle in there. I know it's going to need at least one bottle, right? Missed. Let's see what we got. It sure does have a unique smell to it. I just can't place it yet. Okay, so 110, a little over 110. I think I'm going to leave it right there. I wanted to go in the barrel just a little bit high. So I'm going to leave it right there. Alright, so you get rid of these tails. Sorry, let me be ready. I've already rinsed this barrel out. Actually, what I ended up doing is you have to put water. I put water in it to make sure that it was all swelled up and not leaking, which it's not. So I think what it is time now to start putting this in, hopefully without spilling it. Because if anybody knows me, I'm good at spilling. I think this whole jar will fit in there, I believe. Almost there. Look down in there and see if I can see. Try a little more. The worst to do is run out of it. Little bit more. Almost there. Alright, that's it. That is it. Put the bung in it. Okay, it's in the barrel. That is our caramelized sweet potato bourbon. How long are we going to leave it in the barrel? Well, we'll go for at least a month, and then we'll check it. And then we'll sample it, and then I don't see no much more than 2 months. You got to be careful with these barrels. They will evaporate a lot to the angel's share. So you can lose a lot. So we're going to keep a check on it, and keep taking a taste of it every once in a while. I'm pretty sure this is going to turn out pretty fantastic. Alright. Well, this has been a real fun project. Hopefully we'll have a really good drink out of it. Hey, if you like this stuff, please do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button. It don't cost you a nickel, but it sure does help us out a lot. And really be appreciated to hit that subscribe button. Share it with your friends. Leave a comment. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And all that good stuff. Well, I guess the last thing I got to say is, hey, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time here on Stillworks and Brewing. Cheers, everybody. All right.